Hello everyone, my name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up, and today I am going to share with you the first swap card that I have done in different card making groups and Stampin Up demonstrator groups. You can participate in card swaps with other card makers. And I've always wanted to do it, but this was the first one I signed up for. It is a Christmas in July card swap. So I'm going to make the card that I made for them with you today, and I hope you love it. So we are going to use the Festive and Bright photopolymer stamp set. This is a stamp set that you will find in our new mini catalog, July to December, which is actually releasing to customers August 3rd. This is a pre-order item, so you can put this in a starter kit if you are interested in becoming a demonstrator. That's one of the perks, and you could get it now. If you want to wait, you will be able to get it on August 3rd. Okay, so this is what the card base is going to look like once we do our stamping and our shading. We're going to create this border, and Connie Stewart had a tip as to how to do a continuous border with a border stamp. This is what the stamp looks like. This is a pretty big one. This is actually clear block eye that I'm using, or you can use your Stamparatus. And it's going to be this stamp right here. We're also going to be using Festive and Bright, the sentiment. We're going to be adding some cherry cobbler, and the measurements on this are 4 1/4 by 3, so 3 by 4 1/4, which will layer right onto our card base. The card base itself is my standard card base size, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Okay, so we're also going to be using the Sweet Stockings 12 by 12 Designer Series paper, and I'm going to be using the pattern that looks like this, which is in Pool Party. Look at how cute the other side is. So if you'd want to use the other side, you could do that. And then we're going to be cutting out our little golden retriever, or I think that's what he is. He's either a golden retriever or a lab, but I'm going to go with golden retriever. And it comes from this piece of Designer Series paper, and I cut it up so much. This is literally all I have left of it. Everything else is in little teensy little pieces like this. So this is the layout for our card, and then it will say Festive and Bright right here. So I'm just going to recreate the card with you today, and then we'll do the finished product here. I am using my Stamparatus base. I am not going to be using the plate. I'm not going to be using like this arm that you would use to do like your, this is really good for bulk stamping. But since I'm going to be going around, I just figured I would keep it on a block and kind of have a little bit better control of it. So let's go ahead and do some stamping here. We're going to be using Evening Evergreen ink to do the stamping, and we're going to use Old Olive to do the shading. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut the card base. We're going to cut this to 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and we're going to score at 4 1/4. The next thing we are going to do is take a piece of regular paper, so like paper that you would use to print on. We're going to cut it to the same size as the card front. So we're going to do 5 1/2. by 4 1/4. Now, the way that Connie explains this, she says to measure the width of your stamp and then score all around. And so when I measure the stamp, I see an inch. So we're going to score at 1 inch all the way around. Here, where we have these 4 squares, we're going to miter into each edge. So I'm going to line this up, and because we're using the computer paper, it's really thin. You can still see that line underneath. So I'm just going to make sure that this edge lines up here with the line. And I'm going to start actually in the middle, because if you start from the edge, it crunches the paper. Okay, so we have our first one there. Sorry about the doorbell. That was my package. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this one. And that's, I kind of messed up there a little bit, but this is going to become our template for mitering the edges when we stamp. Okay, so for the next part, I'm going to use my Stamparatus base. I have the foam mat down, and I have one of the scrap pieces of paper down for all of our stamping that we're going to be doing. And I like the 2 open corners here so that I can kind of move this around as I need it. But basically the way that I did this was I wanted to have enough room so that my block would not stamp down and get stuck on this thing. So just want to make sure I have that clearance here, which I do. So let's see, that looks pretty good. All right, now we're going to put down our template. And I'm sorry this is all white on white because I know it's probably a little bit harder to see. And I'm going to take another piece of the computer scrap paper, and I'm going to put it right where the crease of the other side of the card would be. Just like that. And what we're going to do is just fold these down, and I'll pull this down and stamp this edge, put this one back up, fold this one over, stamp this edge, and so on and so forth. And then just do this over and over again for as many cards as you need, which in my case I needed, I think it was 21 cards. So let's see. All right. I'm just trying to make sure that that's as straight as I can get it. And then I'm just going to stamp down. The foam pad will give you a little extra cushion for your photopolymer stamp. I recommend that, especially with a longer, bigger stamp. Okay. And then we're just going to go around. Now, that's pretty good. You can see I didn't get it 100% perfect here. And we're also not dealing with a perfectly straight image. We're dealing with an image that kind of has like a little S shape to it, or more, it reminds me of kind of like a snake where it just kind of moves a little. So we're not hitting on those same exact points. But my tip for this is to take your Stampin' Right marker. You're going to use the 0.5 millimeter tip. And what we're going to do is we're just going to fill in where it looks like we have slight gap. Okay. So if you don't want to do all this, you can definitely, you know, practice and perfect your mitering technique. Mine wasn't 100% perfect, but it was close. So what I'm going to do is just draw in some branches. Don't even have to be specific about it. Just trying to match up those corners. And for me, that's a pretty nice fill-in. So the second step would be, we're going to take a mini sponge dauber and our old olive ink, and I'm going to follow the pattern of the branches and just kind of weave around the lights. You don't have to worry about this being perfect, but just kind of weave around the lights like this. You can make that as light or as dark as you want. And now we're going to be using 3 Stampin' Blends. We're going to be using Pool Party Dark, Real Red Dark, and Daffodil Delight Dark. We're just going to go in and fill in the bulbs. And we are going to finish up with the red rhinestone basic jewels. So here is my finished swap card using the Festive and Bright Stamp Set and the Sweet Stockings Designer Series paper and Connie Stewart's technique for how to stamp a continuous frame border stamp with this little mitered corner sheet. I think that this is absolutely genius. Even if you don't have it 100% perfect, just practice. It's such a good tip. I'm so grateful that she shared that. And I'll definitely be trying this with the other ones as well. So thank you so much and have a great day. If you like craft tutorials like this, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, click like so that YouTube knows to share it with more people. If you're comfortable leaving me a comment, let me know what you thought of this technique. And if you're comfortable sharing this, or if you know somebody who would love this particular stamp set or technique, please share it with them. All right, thank you so much and have a great day.